Let's talk about Bo, baby. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and I feel like this article that PFF came out with is hit and miss when it comes to their evaluation of Bo Nix and what his ceiling can be and what their floor could be. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. So PFF decided that it would be a good idea for them to give the ceiling and the floor for all second-year quarterbacks. So I should start off by saying that, kind of preface today's episode by saying these are only the second-year quarterbacks that they did this for. Here's what the article said about Bo Nix. Nix surprised many with his play as a rookie, considering most analysts viewed him as a second-round prospect in last year's draft. He proved to be a very capable starter who could execute Sean Payton's offense. His 73.8 PFF passing grade in 2024 wasn't spectacular by any means, but he displayed an ability to protect the football. Nix doesn't have Drew Brees-like accuracy, who really does, but he's accurate enough to avoid the sacks, which are two of Drew Brees' best traits that helped him have a Hall of Fame career. So in case you were wondering, the two players that they listed for Nix's ceiling and his floor are Hall of Famer Drew Brees and Mac Jones. Now, again, I love that they're thinking so highly of Bo that his ceiling is Drew Brees. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit there before we get into it. And then Mac Jones comp, I've got a lot to say about. But before we dive into any of the analytics around Bo Nix's year two and what PFF had to say, I got a little challenge for you. Our goal is 30 subscribers on today's episode. And I thought, what better way to do that than to kind of predict what Bo Nix's touchdowns are going to be. So, if you think Bo hits 30 touchdowns this year, hit subscribe. One sub equals one touchdown. Boom. And if you think he's going to have 50, well, then we should have 50 subscribers. So do me a favor, lock us in. Free Broncos content all year long. Okay, so let's take a look at what Bo did last year. Something that I believe proved to be a very, very good rookie season. He had a 1.8 turnover-worthy play rate in 2024, which is incredibly low. Awesome statistic. And had a 12.9 pressure-to-sack rate in 2024. You want that number to be as low as possible. Also very good. And PFF, of course, graded him out at 73.8. And look, I'm not going to, bullshit you. This isn't like the Bo Nix gassing up hour. I'm not saying that Bo Nix is the number one quarterback in the NFL. I'm not even saying he's top 5 yet. In fact, I think he's in pretty decent company when it comes to the guys that proved to have pretty good PFF grades last year. Despite what you think about Russell Wilson, he actually played pretty well last year for Pittsburgh. C.J. Stroud had kind of a dip from his rookie season, but still played very well, led the Texans to the playoffs. Jared Goff had one of the best seasons of his career, and Aaron Rodgers had a great second half, just like Bo Nix did. So while you're looking at the guys on screen and you might be thinking, Bo's better than all of these dudes, you might be right. However, all of these quarterbacks that I just listed had very good 2024 campaigns, albeit their team might not have done that well, Aaron Rodgers being the exception right there. So let's talk about the ceiling first. Let's get back to the article. Sorry to digress a little bit. The ceiling is Drew Brees, and that's high praise because Drew Brees is on a short list of, in my opinion, and you could feel differently about this, a top 7 quarterback of all time. At one point, he led the NFL all-time in passing yards. Do you remember that game? I forget who he was playing, but there was a game where he threw a ball down the outside seam. It was caught for a touchdown, and that tipped him over the edge as the leading passing yards leader over everybody in NFL history. Now, I will say this. Drew Brees was known for his accuracy, and his quarterback rating of 98.7 career is all time. It's insane. But Bo was a bigger, stronger, and more athletic version of Drew Brees and will forever be so until he gets into his late 30s. So the mold, the body composition, and the build are not even comparable, which is why I think it's way too early to make this comparison. Sure, they both played for Sean Payton, and sure, Drew Brees' accuracy was his number one trait. But they're two completely different styles of quarterback. Bo has far more athleticism in his game and his ability to manipulate the pocket, move up, slide side to side than Drew Brees ever did. In fact, Drew Brees' calling card towards the end of his career, sorry to say it, was Captain Checkdown. And that's why Alvin Kamara was so gifted, because all Drew had to do was throw it out into the flat and let Kamara go to work. But that was towards the end of his career. I'm not discrediting anything that Drew Brees did. So this will lead me into my question that I've asked to you a couple of times here on the channel, but I want to ask it one more time. Do you think that Bo will have a sophomore slump? Is he going to trend in the direction of what C.J. Stroud did last year, or will he have a Patrick Mahomes-style ascension where it just keeps going up and up and up? Let me know in the comment section down below. So that's the ceiling. Drew Brees, high praise. The floor? Oh boy, strap in, because I got a lot to say about it. But before I do, guys, we only have a couple more days of this amazing sale for this Broncos t-shirt. $39.99 it was, now $15.99. It's 60% off. And I've seen a lot of people already buy this. You know, we do get kind of an update as to how many people are clicking on this link and purchasing this shirt. So I know you guys are clicking to check it out. And if you want to do it too, make sure you use this link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video. I made it super easy for you. chatsports.com/BroncosT. Ceiling is Drew Brees. Incredible praise. But then the floor happens. And I feel like they gave a half-assed version for why they believe it's Mac Jones. A half-assed explanation, on why they believe it's Mac Jones. Here's what they specifically had to say. There's a quote from the PFF article. Considering Nix's low-end playmaking abilities, his floor is Mac Jones. In the end, though, he's likely to never hit that floor and should be a capable long-term starter. Time out. It's kind of like a backhanded compliment there. Low playmaking abilities. Did they watch Bo Nix play last year? Clearly they didn't, because anybody, Broncos fans and non-Broncos fans alike, who has a brain and a pair of eyes could see that Bo Nix's athleticism was far better than displayed. I have a couple of screenshots that I found. Does this look like a guy who's not athletic? They got 3 Ravens defenders coming after him. And I believe on this play, he ended up throwing the ball away. Didn't take a sack, though. And then another one from a Chargers game where he goes back into the pocket, facing a bull rush on the outside, climbs up and delivers a throw. I don't remember exactly how much this was for. I don't have an eidetic memory when it comes to every play. But there was one interesting statistic that I found that I want to share with you guys that proves, or rather disproves, PFF's assessment that Bo Nix's floor is Mac Jones. I know this is really tough to see, but if you take a look at this is a fantasy chart breakdown from 2024. Essentially what you're looking at right now is the non-rushing fantasy points per game on the far left. Then you have the rushing fantasy points per game on the right, and then the designed rushing fantasy points per game. Meaning this, the rushing fantasy points per game is all scramble yards. The designed rushing fantasy points per game are clearly designed runs. Take a look at Bo Nix's numbers. 3.9 fantasy points per game on rushing yards, but only 1.1 on designed rush. What does that tell you? That when the play collapses, Bo Nix's ability to find open space and make things happen with his legs is far better than any of us anticipated. So I don't know where PFF is getting this notion that he's got low playmaking capabilities. Do you know what it sounds like? And shout out to producer Joey, who's on the 1s and 2s today. It sounds like they were going off of their assessment of his draft stock before he got drafted by the Broncos and before he was implemented into Sean Payton's offense. They were just kind of taking what they saw from him at Oregon and at Auburn and said, yeah, this is kind of who he is. Take it or leave it. But that's not at all what we saw last year. So I disagree with their floor of Mac Jones because Mac Jones has stone feet. That dude has it looks like he's walking around in cement shoes. But if you were to ask me who I believe Bo Nix's floor is, it's not a direct comparison because I think Bo's kind of a unique player. It's Trevor Lawrence. Both bigger bodies, both have slightly better than average athleticism and mobility. And Trevor Lawrence was also one of those players that had shown flashes of really good things, but has kind of dipped back and regressed towards the mean of NFL quarterbacks. And I think that's Bo Nix's floor. I'm not saying that that's what he's going to be. I think he's far better than Trevor already at this point. But if Bo Nix were to regress, I think the worst he would get would be modern day Trevor Lawrence. Does that make sense? Okay. So now that we went through their ceilings and their floors, hopefully you have an opinion on that. Let me know in the comment section down below. We are so unbelievably close to our next milestone goal of 37,000 subscribers. It's crazy stuff, man. When I took over the channel, we were just barely over 35,000, and that was less than 2 months ago. So we're almost at 2,000 subscribers in 2 months, which is a great pace. So if you're a new Broncos fan that has not subscribed to the channel, it's always free. We'll never, ever charge you a thing, and we're going to give you daily free Broncos content all year long. My name is Moose. Until next time, be cool.